Welcome to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 352 of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric and I'm the editor-in-chief over at bloodygoodhorror.com, and I am here tonight with my bestest friends in the world to talk about Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension. First up, back in my life, although he never really leaves because, as I explained to him before the show, I see him every time I close my eyes. He is the business manager of bloodygoodhorror.com. His name is John Schnars.
Huzzah!
Welcome back, my friend.
You know how to make a guy blush, Eric. Tell you what.
That's right. Next up on the show, he is...
God, it is blue today around here.
He is the beer editor at bloodygoodhorror.com. He's also our number one Disney fan and correspondent. His name is Joe.
It's true. I've written one beer article in the past 2 years.
Joe's got some. Well, no, I mean, you just, if someone has a beer question, they ask you. That's all you need to have that title. Yeah.
I can make up a good answer.
It's like the Daily Show. You just stand in front of a green screen with beer behind you. And next up on the show, he builds bloodygoodhorror.com with his magical little beaver hands. Also, continuing on his streak of wearing the most sensitive shirts, his name is Mark.
This is what I wear to work, man.
I don't know. How else are you going to let people know that you're a sensitive, creative professional?
I just thought it was a shirt. I'm not sure what defines a sensitive shirt versus...
It may just be the whole package.
It's a collar, I think. Is the
collar, the top unbuttoned so people know he's casual. He's not intimidating.
I just thought it was the fact that Mark was wearing it.
He's got a soft part to his hair. That says approachability. So...
Somebody's bucking for a promotion.
Last up tonight on the show, he is the host of the Instamatic, one of the plethora of Bloody Good Horror spin-offs. His name is Casey.
Hello.
Fellas, I can't tell you how excited I am to have the family back together.
Aww.
Oh.
It's almost like you guys waited for Halloween to be over to come back to the show.
Yep.
Just plan our life around that.
It's slow season. I guess we'll come back.
1 month out of the year, we have to give a shit about what we do, and you guys were just off the reservation.
Well, the holidays are upon us.
Joe had better excuses than I did.
It's true.
Joe, let's get right into it here. I've missed your voice so much. Your
Appreciate that.
Baritone. Why don't you tell me what you guys, you and the Joe family did at Disney for Halloween? And also, I didn't see a picture of the costume, so...
Oh, you know what?
Could you send us one?
I will dig that up for the next episode. So
okay.
we sprung for the package where they take your picture. So, but anyway,
why? I mean, you're going that far, yeah.
I got tips if anybody wants to talk. So we were down in Disney World for Halloween, and the week before, and they really go all out there. It was actually pretty awesome. No joke. I weighed it when we got home. We got 9 pounds of candy. Just like, because they have like a party where you can trick or treat in the park, and then we just went around to a bunch of the resorts on Halloween, and my daughter trick or treated there, and they like legit give out just handfuls of candy and like the good stuff too, not just like, not
the cheap
tarts.
Ass shit.
Yeah,
whole bars.
Listen, everybody hates on the non-chocolate candies, but they actually. They serve a really important role because they're like palate cleansers between Snickers and Twix and all that stuff, right? Like, you can't appreciate the Kit Kat unless you've had a Jujube in between.
I appreciate like a Smarties and whatnot, but
sure.
Definitely on Halloween, the last thing in your bag is like, 14 or 15 Airheads that nobody wants to eat. Was
the whole thing like a mob scene? I just imagined like little kids just beating the shit out of each other.
It was no, I mean they've been doing this for years, so they've got it pretty well organized. It's pretty impressive, and I think the more amazing thing to me was November 1st, the Christmas shit was up everywhere. Like overnight, everything transformed. They
like before you guys even left.
Yeah.
So Halloween was on a Saturday. So you're saying you went back into the park on Sunday?
So we went, yeah, we came home on Monday. So no joke, we went trick or treating on Saturday, and then on Sunday we went to like a winter wonderland in one of the other parks where they had like all their Christmas stuff.
Did that
set
feel
up.
weird?
It was really weird because
Was your
also,
daughter
like,
incredibly confused?
she had no idea what the hell was going on.
Where do the spooky people go?
And it was also like 90 degrees, and they had fake snow. So just all around,
So
we
I-
pretty much celebrated like 2 different seasons.
So
in
it was a
matter of
rousing
weekends.
success.
Oh, it's awesome!
Exciting. Was
can't
this the first
recommend
time
it
you've
enough.
done this with the family?
I mean, we go down a lot. This is the first time we've been there for Halloween.
How does your daughter deal with the spookiness? Is she okay with it?
Oh, she loves it. She actually, the fun thing about like the photo package, they'll actually, a few of the rides they take video. So we have like these awesome shots of her like losing her shit like on the Tower of Terror and like on roller coasters. It's pretty
She's
fun.
she's tall enough to ride those rides.
She is, yeah. So she's like 41 inches.
So she's
and,
taller
like,
than Mark and I already.
Oh,
Weird.
she would be
What are you
mastering
feeding
you.
her?
But yeah, it was a blast. It was the first time she could like do just about everything there. So
Awesome.
I'm
Good
impressed
times.
that there's video and not like just awkward still shots anymore.
it's so they have like these things they call magic bands, which are pretty much your tickets now. It's like a bracelet that you wear. And there's certain rides where you don't even know they're taking photos, and
You
they
know
don't,
who else
like,
made people wear bracelets?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
No?
do like track you around the park. But
Yeah.
like, I didn't even realize like a couple rides they were actually taking your picture, and then like we went home at night and looked it up.
It
And
was
there
weird.
like,
They put us all on trains and made us go to Halloween Town.
stop it.
Just saying, Walt Disney.
Oh,
Ever
God.
read about that guy? Just
Move
saying.
on.
Yeah.
Well, Joe,
Anywho.
that's delightful, Joe. I'm excited, happy for you and your family there. I don't know if Disney does this, but I remember my wife and I went to Halloween horror nights at Universal,
Yeah.
and they basically like cordon off a third of the park, and there's big warning signs like if you are prone to shitting your pants, don't go into this part. And like if you go in, it's the part where people will like actively chase your ass
Yeah,
and try to
no.
scare the shit out of you. We walked in like 20 feet. And I had to like carry my wife back out crying. Like I felt so awful because she just could not handle it.
No, I mean Disney's version of that party is called the Not So Scary Halloween Party. So
Yeah.
it's a different vibe.
All right, very exciting.
Yeah.
So John, what's your excuse for missing the last couple shows?
I had to go to California, and I don't even remember. I think one of them was not necessarily my fault so much as
You just didn't care.
so much as there was like a debate about like should we have John on or should we have Cece and somebody else on, and
No,
then
if you didn't see the movie, there's no debate.
well, whatever, I'm just saying. I think I did see the movie. No, Crimson Peak. I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Went, watched it.
It's good, right?
And it was fucking awesome. And then we had a whole debate about when we were gonna do the show, and I fucking lost the debate.
Yeah.
So I hold that one against
Sorry,
you guys.
brah. Listen,
There was at least one email where I just said "fuck you guys."
The young ones are just so enthusiastic, you know.
Hey.
And
I did listen, and they were
don't
good
sleep
shows.
on
I
that
can't-
new Clash, Schnars. Their game is on fleek.
They were great. I
Yeah.
mean,
You know
what,
honestly,
I
if
just
you
had
guys
an
replaced
idea.
John and I with them, I would not fault you.
I
They
just had
would-
an idea
I
for
would listen.
something.
Yeah. I'd start listening.
I just had an idea that's something we could offer to patrons instead of having the conversation over email. We could get on Skype and just talk about when we're gonna record the show.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we'd make up our
God.
mind, but then we'd change our mind, and then we'd remake up our mind, and then we'd kick someone off and invite someone else on. and
John, I do give you credit because you have been busting your ass to make sure that all of our patrons got presents in the mail.
for sweatshop wages, no less.
Namely T-shirts, amazing coasters, which I can show the video right now. Coasters, stickers, and stuff. So you are. Less people think that we were able to spring for like some kind of mailroom situation. It's happening.
Pennywise
It's
soap.
happening out of your Manhattan ivory apartment in the sky.
That is true.
So
Mark, was that Pennywise soap?
Sure was.
Sweet.
Sure was.
John got a paper cut and just didn't even know what to do. He's like, "What happened?
Yeah,
I never used my hands before."
I have more BGH and Titty Bats stickers than I know what to do with.
Yeah.
I realize that as an adult, I don't have many surfaces I can put stickers
Here's
on.
my problem with stickers.
Gotta be
At
careful.
an adult, like I'm too familiar with the concept of permanency, so I'm too scared to put a sticker on anything. Because everything I've ever put a sticker on in my life, one day I went, man, I wish I hadn't put that fucking sticker.
Fun
on."
fact: the large size BGH sticker is designed specifically to fit over the Apple on an Apple computer. So
Oh,
I have Mac Mini, and that's where my BGH sticker went, is over the Apple on my computer.
Aren't you cool?
Mine's going on my truck.
Cool. There you go.
nice.
Is it on the testicles that hang off the back of the truck? The
No.
rubber ones that swing around?
Still
Yeah,
working on
That's where I
mine,
keep
John.
my NOTLP stickers.
If you would like to find out more about A, how you can live stream us, and B, how you can get access to all of this amazing swag, check out patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. I think we'll leave it to that tonight. We got a lot going on. I would love to know, Casey, how many kids did you make urinate this Halloween in Indiana?
One of them that I know of for sure.
Only one confirmed kill.
It was we did,
Headshot.
and I had another one cry for sure too. But my wife was dressed up as I sent the picture there of our Halloween costumes. I was Jason. My wife was Sam for Trick or Treat. But the good one I had, the kid was getting cocky when he saw me come out from behind the bush. He's getting cocky. I stood there staring at him, dropped my mask and my machete, took off running at him, and I got to watch him scream and drop his toy knife and his bag of candy in my front yard as he ran down the street. Then he came back and got that, and I watched him go down the street.
You ever had cops show up to your house?
Nah. The parents usually think it's pretty funny. But I watched the kid come down
Wait,
the
hold
other
on.
side of the
Casey, is it
street.
okay if I put this picture in the video here?
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
put
cool.
it there for.
Cool.
They the kid come down the other side of the street, and I waited till he went up to my neighbor across the street's door, so his back was to the street. And I ran across the street and stood between two cars. That's when I heard, as he was coming, turned around, was walking back with his friend, I heard him say, "Yeah, I swear that dude made me pee my pants." And right when he said that, I jumped out between the two cars.
So wait a minute. So you're not even just scaring them at your house. You're like pursuing children down the street to scare them?
As you do.
You betcha.
Casey does not respect borders. No.
Yo,
I mean, you know who else
Still,
wouldn't? Jason Voorhees. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it was
true.
nice though because we got new neighbors next door, so they had good entertainment of watching me make kids scream. It was pretty fun.
amazing.
Like,
I stayed in and I watched The Shining. I don't know. Have you heard of this film, John? It's pretty good.
I'm aware.
Pretty good.
Familiar.
And I rewatched It Follows. I'll tell you what, Schnars, it is going to be hard for any movie to beat that on my top 10 this year. That movie is fucking
Hey.
baller.
Wow, give
We're,
this movie some credit that we're about to talk about.
Spoiler alert.
I went and saw, it wasn't on Halloween, it was on Halloween Eve, saw Night of the Living Dead in theaters, which was a pretty
Nice.
cool experience. A lot of laughing out loud at how kind of ridiculous it is. It
I
does.
mean, it's
it
hokey.
does-
It was a 60s movie, you know.
I mean, mostly about how the one chick is just freaking out the whole time and she like can't even talk. She's just like babbling throughout the entire movie.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Yeah.
It was very much, yeah, it's very much like, haha, you know, for as much credit as that movie gets about being progressive, it's very much like,
Oh,
haha,
but-
women can't fight off zombies,
There are
lol.
some- there's literally a part where the dad from downstairs is like, we have to make an escape, and there's a child and two women. Very
They're
specifically
basically
calls out-
crippled.
Yeah, it calls out the number of women in the house as being a detriment to them escaping from the house.
In all fairness, I feel like Romero, though, himself definitely made up with that with both, like in Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, I feel like you very consciously get very strong female characters. And it was 1968. Like, you
Sure.
know,
Women were slower then, I get it.
I'm not cutting him any slack.
weak arms, I'm just saying. No, that's cool, though. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, Halloween's exciting. Do you do anything, John? What happens in Halloween in New York City? Like freaky sex raves or something?
Well, no, they do a huge Halloween parade. It's like on TV and shit. We went to a place called the Children's Museum of Manhattan, which did like a thing. It's like kind of like a little kid. It's not really a museum. It's kind of like a I don't know, like playground inside. But they had all kinds of shit. It was fun.
So
I took
what I
my
gotta
kid to
know is
Disney World. Just saying, John. But your museum
ahead.
sounds
Just
cool
saying,
too.
Joe's
Brush it off, Joe.
parenting,
Brush it
Joe's
off.
parenting game on fleek over here.
But that's fun, a museum.
Yeah. Listen,
What are you gonna do?
fucking
Joe, John, you know, all
16-month-old.
my best childhood memories start with this one time at the museum.
I remember on Halloween when I was learning.
Well, what do you give the trick or treaters at your door, John? Like gold doubloons or
Oh no, we don't.
savings bonds?
We our building does not participate in that crazy.
Stern looks.
Yeah, stern look. Most of the buildings, it's like you go door to door, not like you go like down the street, not like in the building. I don't
See,
know.
anytime I've ever like I'm back in a, I mean, I'm actually kind of in the burbs now, but I'm in a like a condo complex. Like, there's no trick or treating here, it just doesn't happen. But a lot of places will do like trunk or treat. Have you heard of this? Where like
Oh, yeah.
a town will organize like, oh, everybody show up to this park or something, and then the parents kind of will back all their cars in, open up their trunks, and you hand candy out of the trunk. So for like kids who don't have neighborhoods or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's just also
That's
a safe
not-
place because it's like a controlled environment. So
Yeah.
there's definitely
That's
a little
not
bit of that going on.
crazy. I had like epic trick or treating when I was growing up.
Yeah,
and it was
so
the
do we.
best. And I
We
fucking-
also, but like you, the worst thing you had to worry about was like Casey's mom giving him his R2D2 costume with no arms.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
it was.
come on. There were child molesters back then. It wasn't like it was, we just
I
didn't.
didn't worry about that at all when I was a kid. I didn't even know Casey.
I don't know. It was different though. I feel like, and maybe I sound like an old man right now, but I just think that parents are more. I don't think. Okay, let me put it this way. I don't
think
think
it's
the
like more
world is different.
Yeah.
I think that parents are way more paranoid about letting their kids near anything that might harm them.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of those Halloween nights were like very formative experiences for myself.
Totally. And for the neighborhood.
You don't know fear until your brother, who's a senior, and like 5 of his friends drive around in one of their cars looking for you, and every time they find you, get out and pelt you with like 400 eggs. And it was like the car was really shitty, so you would hear the like muffler rattling from like a block away, and
I'm
like go
pretty
hide in
sure
the woods.
that was like actually an episode of Freaks and Geeks too. Where that
No, it did
exact-
happen though. It definitely happened.
I mean, I was around. I remember that.
Anyway, well, Halloween time. It's over, you guys. It's sad. Sad
Yes.
face. But
High times.
you know what that means? We can now start the countdown to next Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what it really means is we're one day closer to Mr. J. Schnapp's best movie of the year postings. So
Great transition there because we're actually going to try to hit some of the other. I don't
unintentional.
know. Well, yeah, but the coming up, we've got a couple movies on the docket that we think are potential or have been recommended as potential top 10. So we're going to try to catch up on some of the, stuff that maybe was foreign, got limited release.
Which is the first time
whatever.
we've really done that. Usually we're just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Well, we've been a little better organized this time around. So,
so I'm patting us on the back is what I'm trying to say.
well, there's not, if we look at
We
the
deserve
list,
tons of
too,
credit.
there's not a ton of theatrical. The only theatrical left for the year is Victor Frankenstein, which comes out on Thanksgiving. And then potential epic.
I mean, we have to get Mommy
Mark
Dearest
Boner
in.
inducing Krampus.
I was
Krampus,
here.
yeah.
I was ready to get mad because I thought you were gonna forget Krampus, and I was gonna jump through this screen.
Oh,
The
hell
only
yeah,
one
you
off
were.
the top of my head that I like, we have to get in is Mommy Dearest because that's going to be on like everybody's top 10 list. I feel like.
It's first of all, it's
Good
called
Night,
Good Night,
Mommy.
Mommy.
what
and,
did I call it? Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest has been out for a while.
That's a somewhat formative film there.
I'm
but
not old. I just
called
referenced
Mother's Day.
a 40-year-old movie.
We're gonna
I want to see
Yeah.
this Psycho the kids are all
Actually,
talking
that
about.
movie's like 60 years old. When the hell did that movie come out?
no, it's probably more like 40.
I don't know, man.
It might even be early 70s.
Anyway, I
In any
I
event,
derailed you.
Good Night, Mommy is next week. We're gonna do this movie Bone Tomahawk, which is it's like Mark is to Krampus as I am to Bone Tomahawk. I think Casey's actually seen it, which is making me super jealous.
Yes.
Jelly.
So yeah, but yeah.
Eric,
Mommy
say
Dearest came out
Dearest
in 1981.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it black and
40
white?
years
ago.
Maybe that's
No.
why I thought it was. What am I thinking of?
Joan
I think
Crawford's just in
You're
black.
thinking of Mrs. Doubtfire, I think.
What are you thinking?
It was
Because
a
I can
drive-by
picture it
fruiting.
too in black and white, and I cannot think.
No,
of
you're probably thinking
Alright.
of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, maybe.
Whatever. I know this is like that time that I couldn't remember like Harry Dean Stanton from the like. It's not worth digging into it. Let's just move on.
Dean
Okay.
Cain.
Joe,
Yep,
you drink beer.
I do.
People out there drink beer. What we're trying to do here is this thing where we connect you with them. So what are we drinking tonight while we review Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension?
All right, so Paranormal Activity. I'm sure we're all familiar with the film. It gets to nighttime, spooky shit starts to happen, and then you move on.
That's about it.
And in honor of that, I picked a beer that I had for the first time, actually, down in beautiful Epcot, from Gainesville, Florida, Swamphead Brewery, and this is their Wild Night Honey Cream Ale.
Something about the word cream in a beer name that makes me feel weird.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, cream ale is a style actually invented by the good folks up at Genesee Brewing up in Rochester, New York. It was actually invented. It's kind of a mix. It's an ale, but sometimes is brewed with a lager yeast, or they actually just mix lager beer into the beer after it's been made. Pretty much, it was invented because the owner of Jenny Brewery, his father-in-law didn't like ales and thought lagers were too light, so he wanted to create a beer that like his father would like, pretty much. So he invented the cream ale style, and it's exactly what you think it is. Like it's sort of a lighter version of an ale. This one, they actually put honey in the brewing process, so it has like that real sweetness to it. But you also get sort of that malt, which is traditional for the style. This one really good, down in the hotter climates. It was very refreshing on a humid evening. Comes in about 5% alcohol, so not super high. But
what other adjectives would describe this beer, Joe?
Funnily enough, not creamy so much, which I don't know if you guys remember.
Not creamy. Not a great adjective.
when we were
I think it's uncreamy.
Yeah.
uncreamed. When I was in high
Discreamed.
school, and I'm sure you guys too, you would see Jenny Cream Ale in
Oh, yeah.
Hannaford.
I had
And
a
it
friend.
sounds delicious.
I had a friend whose like parents, that's all they drank, and when you went to their house, they had empty 12-packs stacked up to the ceiling of their garage.
Yeah.
And they
It
would sit
sounds
there every night
delicious,
drinking
like-
Jenny Cream Ale and smoking cigarettes. And they had 2 chairs that never moved, and above them there were yellow spots on the ceiling from smoking the cigarettes all the time.
Like it sounds delicious.
They're hardcore.
But to like a 13-year-old, at the end of the day, it just tastes like beer. But yeah, no, this one's super good. I really enjoyed it. The style is you actually don't see a ton of breweries putting these out. I didn't realize this, John, but according to the folks at Beer Advocate, Sweet Action by Six Point is considered a cream ale.
Sure is, my friend. The
you're-
finest.
Well,
Yeah.
that's riveting.
I know you're a big fan of that one. I enjoyed it as well.
That's my
Joe,
go-to.
Joe, thank you for your beer recommendation. This
All right, I
week.
guess I'm done. So yeah, swamphead.com is the website, and there you go.
Delightful, Joe. Incredible, as always. All right, all right, guys. Let's take a quick break and review Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension.
I feel like I'm dying inside. I feel like Nev Campbell in Scream 2. She thinks she can go off to college and be happy. And then the murderer comes back. Starts killing off all of her friends. Learned a lot of lessons from that movie. This is just one of them.
Greetings, gentlefolk. This is James Duval from Donnie Darko, May, and Sushi Girl, and you are listening to BloodyGoodHorror.com.
This is it, Jennifer. There's big breaking TV. Got the prime time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back.
Yep.
The Ghost Dimension. Because apparently now we just name movies as literally as we possibly can.
It's the worst name.
Paranormal Activity. See the ghost things.
Well,
There's a
isn't it?
hole in the wall that leads to where the ghost
Where the ghost stuff is.
Isn't it a demon though? Like I didn't even understand that. Like there aren't actual
It's a fucking
ghosts.
demon. Every single movie's a demon. So it should be the demon dimension.
I hope the next Insidious
Joe.
is called like Into the Further or something along those lines.
Joe, you are a genius. That didn't even occur to me.
What? What?
like Troll
Then
2.
it's a
They're not,
demon.
they're not actually trolls.
Yeah, right. Maybe it's a reference. I don't know.
Something
But
is
it did occur to me,
mentioned
John,
something.
yeah, that it's basically the further.
Yeah.
All I kept hearing in my head was Lynn Shade going, I call it the further.
It's Bloomhouse, man. They're bringing it all together.
It's true.
He's just stitching the whole.
Were we joking about a crossover
I mean,
when we did it?
Why
the
not?
last Insidious movie?
Toby meets whatever the Insidious monster's
The
called.
Darth Maul thing.
Gray
Would it
lady.
be the Bloomiverse or because it couldn't be the
Yeah.
Wanaverse.
The
It had to be the
Bloomiverse.
Bloomiverse.
Listen, the Wandaverse is all encompassing. You cannot stop it. John,
Yep.
I'm so excited for this, buddy. Why don't you tell
Oh.
me tell me how this film is being birthed to us, because I think that's an interesting part of it, and then tell me what it's about. Oh shit! No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Psych.
Huh?
Psych. What I meant to say was, please bring us the word of the day. Dodged a bullet on that one, Schnars. Save the day. What do you got for us tonight?
Woo. Today's word is midwife. That is midwife. A person, typically a woman, trained to assist women in childbirth. Also, a person or thing that helps to bring something into being or assist its development.
Wow, John.
Okay. All right.
Well, no, I mean, so
It only
I
took you
was about to
4
ask if you
weeks.
had a word that was relevant for this movie.
It only
No,
took you
but
4 weeks to come up with a good word.
the name of the coven of witches, and this is actually from one of the previous movies. I hope I didn't use this word before, but based on your reaction, I didn't. They're called the midwives. That's like with the like evil witches that capture Katie and Christy. Is that
It's pronounced Coven.
the
No,
coven?
man, because Coven's like
Yeah.
oven.
Yeah. So
Greatest movie of all time.
this word has one of the worst origins of all time. It mid meaning it comes from the Middle English. Mid means with, and then wife actually just meant woman, and so
Just
it
means
was
wife, turns out.
with woman. Yeah, good times.
Great.
But yeah, the midwives, they are the coven of the activity Bloomiverse, and
You're just saying words now. You don't even know what they mean.
I don't know what's going on. So wait, now what? All right, so you want me to synopsize? Or...
Well, yeah, but tell me first. So,
What are we here for?
listen, John.
What am I talking about?
Your
This-
job is to paint a picture. I can do it for you if you'd like.
I kind of like when I start and then you get frustrated,
know,
so then start talking. And then...
We had 3 straight years of Paranormal Activity movies. There might have been a break in there somewhere. Then we had the Marked Ones, which was the spin-off. 3 was great, by the way.
I think 4 came
Was
before
4 first? Okay. 4 is a pile of doo-doo. It's not good.
Yeah,
It was so bad it killed the actor who played the father. Then the last February we got Paranormal Activity, the Marked Ones, which was the Latino spin-off. And then
which I liked, for the record.
maybe that was like 2, because I feel like we went a whole year at least
It
without
It
seeing
was
one.
basically 2014 January, so it has been essentially 2 years.
Yeah, so, and this movie, there's an interesting thing about the way this movie's released. That's more or less what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so this movie comes from Paramount, which has done all of these movies at this point. And it, along with Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, was part of this program that they were it's not program, but basically there's been this discussion about shortening the amount of time between theatrical releases and when they hit video on demand, specifically like cable video on demand, but also, iTunes, Google Play Store, like all that shit. And this is like a huge problem for most theaters, right? Because they make a ton of money, not just like when something comes out, but having a kind of exclusive access or exclusive rights to show something. And the funny thing is, even if they don't want to keep it in the theater because it's not doing well, they still rely on that exclusive access to continue to kind of like maintain the theater mystique or whatever. I mean, there are legitimate arguments to why they need that kind of window, but it's gradually been being chipped away at, and this was kind of like Paramount putting a stake in the ground saying, no, we're going to go to, I think it's 7 weeks. It's not like astronomically short. It wasn't like 3 days, but essentially
It's been a battleground for a while. Like, the
Yeah.
theaters are fighting basically a losing battle. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's where the world is going. Oh my God, the ghost dimension is in Casey's video right now. Oh no, wait, he's just vaping. It's where things are going. It's where they're going to go, but they're fighting basically. And so this is like an interesting story in that you got a major distributor basically saying, tough shit, do what you will. We're going to do this anyway.
Well,
And I think they kind of figured like they're getting diminishing returns on this series anyway. So it's a great case study in can we do this?
I was going to say, it's interesting for a bunch of reasons, but to your point, they did it with 2 horror movies. And I think that's not a coincidence. We're sort of a ongoing testament to the fact that horror fans tend to show up and they'll watch stuff that is even getting bad reviews. And so
I would tend to bet if you did studies that we seek stuff out and find our own stuff more than like casual movie fans.
yeah. I think, well, listen, there's horror cons. Like, there's not cons for romantic comedies, right? Like, there's not cons for like a lot of different
I would
genres.
attend one of those if there
Romantic
were.
con?
You know, I guess there might be, but there's not the same
Romantic-con.
sort of like level.
Rom-com?
No, it's rom-con con, yeah.
What's
All
that
right.
gonna be?
Rom-com.
Getting us back on track. No, so this actually, instead of getting a wide, it technically got a wide release, but wide in this case meant about 1,500 theaters. Essentially, you had the two largest theater chains, and I can't even name them off the top of my head, not carry it. And that's why, like, Casey, I don't think this showed anywhere near you.
Right.
But, like, it was in a lot of
Why
theaters.
we
in New
couldn't
York.
do it, before, so.
Yeah, AMC, which is like a lot of the East Coast city theaters, or just like East Coast theaters in general, did carry it. So, I got it in a theater, but it did not show in a lot of theaters sort of around the country. So that's sort of the story of the release. I mean, we were kind of like going back and forth, like not really understanding why this wasn't getting released. One of our listeners or somebody tweeted at us about it, and that kind of, got that all out in the open.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story. The story of the movie is fuckloads more complicated. So I'm not going to necessarily get into all of the.
Is it?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm not even gonna say I remember exactly what the hell goes on with all the like lore and like the way that it connects back to all the other movies. Here's the like.
How do you feel about that, Joe?
I feel like John's kind of bullshit. Did you see the movie, John?
I watched it. I was not, necessarily always 100% attentive. I tweeted.
No, it
about
is. It is Saw-esque at this point in the insane retconning that is going on.
Well, yeah, some of it's not even retconning because I think they probably had most of this figured out in the third one. It's just that like they were dropping these hints that like who the fuck was paying attention, or like who the fuck knew that it was supposed to be a hint in the third movie.
Well, it's just that we see these movies and they're kind of like thrill rides, but then you forget about them the second you walk out. So then 4 years later,
Yeah.
you're being asked to recall some intricate plot point to understand what you're
I
watching.
need a previously on, like at
Yeah.
the beginning of each one of these movies.
Yeah,
and
no
the-
shit. That not even joking. Yeah.
the place where there was crazy amounts of retconning was from the first one to the second one. Basically, the first one
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so insanely successful that they were like, holy shit, we need to come up with like a whole like narrative around all these movies. And they did an okay job of that, I think.
Not for nothing though, Joe. And you got everyone. Friday the 13th did that. You watch Friday the 13th
Yeah,
part
that's
4,
true.
I think. There's like a 5-minute thing in the beginning where they're just showing you what happened in the other movies.
I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, but this
It's
totally
cool.
could have used it.
Yeah.
I
this
bet
one
there's one
plays
on
off,
the internet if you
like
if you
three a ton, right? Like I think for the most part, that's really what it goes back to.
It's stuff that was set up in 2 and then really explored in 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of had to know what happened in 4. Like the fact that you had to know the fact that Katie was with that had the boy. Because they mention it. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. We're gonna talk about Katie, the magic real estate salesperson, later.
Yeah, Eric, that was the best part of our email exchange.
We really started digging through that in email. I
man.
got really excited because I'm like, this is maybe the dumbest thing in this whole movie.
So, all right. So, here's the general outline. We've got a completely new family. It is father, wife, daughter, Layla, and then the dad's brother kind of shows up to visit them, and that's kind of the impetus for why a lot of shit's getting filmed. Because
Also,
this
you
movie,
forgot family of white people.
super duper white.
And
They
weird
also have
yoga instructor.
Well,
Like,
I was
didn't
gonna say
understand.
I didn't understand where
just
she came from either. Who was
No.
that?
extremely attractive friend who was hanging around doing God knows what, but wearing
Is that what she was?
tiny
A family
shirts.
friend?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it just me, or did they make zero effort to explain that?
I think she was a Daisy Dukes salesman.
She said something about feng shui and energy. is all
Yeah.
I know.
Feng Shui? What? Is that where you bite your furniture?
Hey, you do what you got to do. I'll do what I got to do.
Yeah, so that's kind of the cast. And Essentially, they have moved into a new house. It's. I'll let Eric comment on like how nice of a house it was later.
It was
but
pretty nice.
Yeah,
They had
Yeah.
a pretty tall Christmas tree.
they did a mega. Christmas tree.
There was a
It
flat
was-
screen TV within 5 minutes.
It was an obscenely tall Christmas tree.
Very tall.
Let's come back.
I'm
to
just
the
saying,
fact
during the
who-
revolution, that's the first Christmas tree that comes down. Is all I'm saying.
we got to come back to the fact that this movie takes place during Christmas, which I found like kind of just like weird.
Well, they don't
but
lean into it enough, really.
They don't do anything with it other than there's a fucking Christmas tree in the middle of the living room.
They don't even lean towards it.
No, exactly. They don't even talk about it. It's like, hey, did you get anything for Christmas? No. Like, fuck you.
Nope.
No.
Just this
So,
tree.
Yeah.
That's all I
just
got.
this tree and the angel. So yeah. So the family has moved into this house. And basically it's like paranormal shit starts happening like right out of the
Did you
gate.
say that
Dude.
Paranormal Activity starts happening?
What is
There's
Schnars?
some activity.
So much activity.
They find a camera that is essentially like one of these, Eric, what are they called? Spirit views?
Sure, the bullshit cameras, spirit photography cameras, or whatever.
Yes.
It's just on the
Yes.
box.
Yeah.
Yes.
This here bullshit camera. This is the new model.
They find like a quote unquote custom, like souped up 1980s shit kicker that you'd like put up over your shoulder.
It's got 6 tubes on
It's
it.
got
This one
six
has
tubes.
6
They
tubes.
normally only have 2 tubes. That's the line they say.
Where did
Was that
come
accurate,
from?
Eric?
No, but yeah, first of all, I don't know anything about tubes. Second of all, they never really. There's nothing about that in 3 because
No, or 4.
presumably like 3, because 3 deals with the boyfriend husband who's like a wedding photographer, and so that's why he has cameras. And
Yeah.
this is the same kind of a camera, but there's nothing about. Like,
Yeah, like-
spoiler alert, he's not around after that movie's over, so
No,
he didn't
I
have
I
time
use this
to.
camera to shoot spirit weddings.
It's just really weird.
These ghouls are getting married this weekend.
Oh my god. So yeah,
By the way, Schnars, the synopsis music ended like 5 minutes ago.
all right. Well, no, I
Toby's
mean,
taking a
listen,
bride.
That's the synopsis. Basically, what happens is Layla gets infected with the demon, Toby. She starts talking to Toby. They start hanging out at night.
Little kids love that fucking demon.
Yeah. Well, and the dad and the brother like start watching the videos that they found with the camera, and they start using the camera. So like they immediately realize, oh, this camera can see ghosts, and there's ghosts in the house, and we can see them. Like that's established like 10 minutes into the movie.
Really quickly. Yeah,
Then
like
they
you
start
see
watching-
shit floating in the air. It's like gelatinous, smoky looking.
And they're just like, whatever. Like we'll just keep rolling with this, even though it's like blowing like people's skirts
They-
up. And,
yeah,
like,
they
God
don't-
knows what. It's just-
That's what was kind of genius about this, though.
You
Is
didn't
like
see this movie, did
they
you, John?
listen. That's the thing I will give this movie. The scares are actually exactly the same as all the other movies. Like if you go back to watch those movies, it's a lot of somebody staring at something for a long time, and then like a puff of air hits them in the face, and they run away. It's the same thing, but now you can actually just see the demon being like up in their face.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know. It's kind of genius.
Genius is one way. Of
All
phrasing
right,
it.
we got to
So-
stop this madness. Is that all
All
you
right.
got to say there, John?
No, I mean, so yeah, then it's basically like, can they save the daughter from becoming possessed by the demon forever? Question mark.
How long will they act not nearly as concerned as they should be before she's possessed?
Yeah.
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 And then we'll get to it later, but the finally, after like a decade of my life has gone by, they are revealing the grand plan of Toby, which is really the headline of this movie, and it was undersold in all the promotion.
Yeah.
You know, they should have been marketing this movie like find out what the
Toby's
hell
Revenge.
this was all about the whole time.
Ghost Dimension.
Yeah. Mark,
Spoiler alert, it's every demon movie ever. It's
Mark,
the exact same thing.
set me
Yeah.
up with your feelings on Paranormal Activity and what you felt about this.
Man, oh man. I enjoyed the first one for what it was. I thought the third one was like so fucking scary. I thought the third one was awesome. I did not like the rest of them. These movies are not really my kind of movies in general. I can appreciate,
I think they
that
are kind of mine.
yeah, so that's good. I don't know. Like I thought the marked ones was okay too, but more so like, whereas if you think of something like Saw, right, which is like I think we covered like 4 through the end of the series. You can say what you want about it. At least like there was a bunch of ridiculous shit going on because the universe was wide open, right? You can create all of these different kinds of traps and all these different things, and it didn't make any goddamn sense, but you never knew what you were gonna get. With these, like, you know what you're gonna get, and the introduction of the visual part of it, like the floating clouds of ink that are demons or something, is supposed to make the film better, but to me it made it worse because like you said, part of what made those other movies scary is you couldn't see what's going on, and here you're just staring at a fucking blob in the middle of the screen, waiting for the blob to jump at you in the same way that like a puff of air would have in previous movies. So I just thought that I don't know, like I thought that was disappointing. I also thought this is kind of lauded as like the end of the series, and like the ending was basically the ending of Wreck. Like it wasn't. There was no.
Listen, to be fair, I think it's a little. No one was lauding this movie as anything.
Well, sure, but okay, it was acknowledged as the end of the series, and the ending of this movie is almost the exact same thing as the end of Wreck, at least visually. Like I just, what I don't know.
Also, it just like doesn't end. I mean, like we'll get into
it ends in the same way like all the other movies end. Like
it's very similar to the ending of 3, but not as good. Which is like that was 2 movies ago, bro. You gotta bring the game.
If I were to sum up my feelings, it's that this takes everything from all of the movies and makes it less good.
It needs more of a third act for sure.
It just needs like a lot more of anything. I just thought it sucked. I just didn't like it.
Are you okay, buddy? You sound a little distressed. You're not usually this negative.
I just didn't.
About you.
Was not in the mood for. There's like
maybe you should try a different sensitive shirt. Maybe that'll help.
Do you want to come over? Hey, can we pause the show and Mark? Do you want to head over?
Like, watching all this shit that I enjoy, the last thing I wanted to watch was a Paranormal Activity movie that's shittier than all the other ones.
All right.
All right,
Joe. Tell me about butt clenchies, Joe.
Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed the first. I think we all weren't a giant fan of the second. The third, I think by far, and I think that's the one you and I saw together, Mark. Like that one, like almost made me throw up. There was so much like just tension in it.
I can verify that. I was
that little ghost under the sheet.
Yeah. And I think to these movies' credit, like even if I don't like the story, there's always that tension, which still kind of, it still scares you. Like you're still waiting for something to happen. It still gets you. I think my problem with the marked ones was there really wasn't much of that. And this one, I think we kind of talked about it over email. Like seeing that sort of goo floating through the air, you kind of know something's going to happen. So it takes away from it, which is kind of a bummer. But then like the last half hour, 40 minutes, like you kind of get back to that tension, which I really enjoyed. I mean, I think I definitely like this more than Mark. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. But I thought the story was kind of interesting to see like some of the back where they're showing like the kids being trained on like how to, deal with Toby and all that stuff. Like it didn't feel like the story was sort of shoehorned into like the previous movies. Like it felt like they were actually like kind of had this in mind. Or if they didn't, like I think they did a really good job of sort of making it fit. So I was lukewarm on this. I definitely, I wouldn't run out and see this again. But
you acknowledge this as a movie?
Yeah, like I thought it was entertaining enough. Like,
no, I think it's actually a really interesting point though Joe's making about like the way that these movies fit together is. It's actually like surprisingly good, given that, as we were kind of talking about before, it's like super unclear how many they thought they were going to make at each step. Certainly with the first one, it was like, I don't think they expected anything. I mean,
the second one, I feel like they dropped some stuff, but kept it way vague so that then they could figure it out later.
No, and that's like the best possible thing, right? Like that's what you should do. And like we joked a little bit about Saw, but like Saw is like the object lesson in how to not kind of keep a series sustainable, because like it literally was so linear that they just had to like keep kind of circling it back on itself, and they did that a little bit here because it's a lot of kind of like moving
Saw's
back
so
and forth
complicated though. These movies kind of each one has just dropped almost not enough new plot information, but just a little bit of like, that's what this thing is.
Yeah, and kept, to your point, kept it vague while also still advancing it.
And they're like, next time on Spooky Demon Show.
And then, but what that allows for is for them to just like eventually go, all right, what do you want to end it now? Like, all right, bring in somebody who can like tie this shit up.
Wait, nobody's paying for this shit anymore? All right, bring in the closer.
So
we got to get a Toby.
Somebody grab Abrams. We got to bring this all together.
Like in that regard, this was better than the script was better than it had a right to be. Not that it was good, just that it was better.
Got it, Casey.
Let's see. I wasn't a big fan of the first one. I thought the first one had some hokey parts to it that kind of turned me off to it. The second one, it was kind of whatever. I really got into this series with the third one because I thought the third one was cool, and I liked the way they were pulling in all the story elements, like John was just talking about, with the how they started tying all this together. Because I think that's where it really started to gel there. 4, I wasn't a fan of. I like the Mark ones. But when I got to this one, once they finally announced this was coming out, like John talked about at the beginning, with the way the time of year that the last one came out, like in January, so we're almost 2 years away, and I get here to this one, it comes out, and I realize I wasn't really missing this series at all. So I had kind of low expectations going in. I wasn't really into the idea of it or excited about it, and watching it, it didn't do anything to impress me over any of the past ones. It just felt like it was more of the same. And kind of throwing it out there with a new gimmick, and that was hard for me to get over.
Definitely.
I liked the story elements that they threw in there to try and tie all this together. Like John said, I think that was actually pretty good, and they do a good job of retconning these things without it being jarring and stuff confusing like Saw. So I like that aspect of it, but if as like a ghost story, it didn't really do much to me. I didn't find it very scary.
John.
Yeah, I mean, I probably fall like closer to Mark than anything, but
Goddamn right you do.
I don't know. Like there were moments of this that were scary. It's just one of those movies where you think about any part of it for like 5 seconds, and you're just like, no, this makes
real
no
dumb.
fucking sense.
It's real dumb.
So much. What was the thing we were talking about?
I got mostly excited because I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to talk about all of these things on the show.
Just like the fact that the fucking ghost can like basically do whatever it wants, but then like it needs some like little girl to help it. Like
yes,
yeah.
Well, but that's kind of spoilery though, so let's wait. Let's wait.
All right.
I would like to preserve the integrity of this series,
Hold on
John.
to your hats.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Spoiler alert, we're gonna blow the lid off this movie. It's insane. You'll never guess.
Was there anything else you had to say?
No, like
Mark
I'll
Mox?
I'll jump in as things go. Oh fuck.
I'm not used to
Blow your
sassy Mark. I
fucking
don't
mind.
like this.
It's
Scary.
coming out firing.
Scary.
Coming out firing tonight.
I don't like the way you get when you drink, Mark. I like this movie. I actually, this movie I think for me benefited from way like rock bottom expectations. I was dreading it because seeing it a few weeks after it really came out, you got the chance to just see everybody hated this movie. Like all the reviews, regular normies, horror fans. I think I maybe saw like one person on Facebook saying they really liked it. And whatever, I mean, this is a pretty divisive series to begin with, so I don't really put a lot of stock into that stuff, but I kind of went into it, and the characters are bad. It's got this weird aesthetic because most of it's shot on the old camera.
Hold on, I gotta stop you at the characters are bad because the brother was the man.
The first 5 minutes of the movie, I thought that guy was going to make me walk out on the movie. Like, I couldn't.
See, I thought
his awkward creeping on the girl was amazing.
Of all of the characters in the movies, like, I felt like I actually enjoyed these the most. Like, the two brothers I thought were actually, like, decent actors. Like,
and when they did shrooms and just, like, fucking hung out, like, what?
I think my beef is more
How did it take 6 movies or whatever to get to that part?
I guess my beef is more the character motivation stuff, like precisely the thing of they are hanging out in this house for way too long after they figure out what's going on.
Like just get the fuck out of the house.
Like, or at least start discussing that maybe something is weird happening. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, whatever. I enjoyed this movie, and it definitely did not have the... I think, to me, if I were to rank all these movies now, 4 is at the bottom of the heap, then the marked ones, and then this just above the marked ones. Like, I think the marked ones was kind of okay, but it was pretty weak in a lot of ways. And this maybe doesn't have as high a ratio of butt-clenching moments, but it has them. Like, I definitely think the whole gimmick of seeing the ghost goo actually got me on a couple of occasions, and it's totally cheap, but it worked for me, and I enjoyed it. And I think that... it does have the one cool visual.
It was a visual.
It does have the one cool visual of the demon hallway, like, and you saw in all the artwork of like in the girl's bedroom. That was pretty neat.
Was that good? That we saw that from fucking.
I thought it was neat.
What's it called? The
but
remake of Poltergeist.
Oh, And it's odd. There's just so many weird things about this movie. A, it exists. B, like they steal a plot point straight from the last Insidious movie where they're watching videotape of these girls from the 80s, and then the girls start. She's like, "Oh, I see people. They're two brothers," and then the two brothers were like, "Oh my god, she's talking about us," and then all this shit happens. That literally exact same thing happened in the last Insidious movie.
No,
Yeah, the bless you thing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it may have even been the same exact thing that happened. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what's funny to me about this movie, and we talked a little bit about the release schedule, and I was joking earlier about it being, I would put it in the top 5 worst titles of a movie.
It's real bad,
like in a long time. But I think the whole idea with the ghost dimension was like, it was supposed to 100% be about it being in 3D. So I saw it in the theater. Did anybody else catch it in 3D?
No 3D, no.
Yeah, so like that's the joke is they made this they basically built this movie around it being in 3D and having because why else have the ghost fucking CGI, right?
Well, but it's interesting though. We were talking about Beer Mill. It's basically like a confession that we literally have no more tricks we can do without showing you something. So,
but I do think I think they could have done the exact same movie for the most part without showing it to you, but they literally did that to
they needed a gimmick.
Yeah, they wanted to have cool 3D effects, but then they do this whole release thing and no one gets to see it in the theater anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what's ridiculous. So like I did see it in the theater, but I fucked up and went to the wrong theater and didn't get it. I meant to go in 3D. I literally was like, I'm going to see this in 3D. Why would I not see it in 3D? It's going to be terrible either way. And then I just forgot. So
Are you sure you didn't just go see Pixels, like a showing of Pixels that's been sticking around for a long time?
I mean, I might have preferred that. But yeah, so like that's what's like, I think that brings it kind of not full circle, but the fact that they basically built this whole thing around a gimmick to recap the series, and then they couldn't even get the fucking gimmick rolled out properly because they shot themselves in the foot with the release schedule.
Well, they may have not had anything to do with that decision too, though. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure that decision was made after the fact. I'm sure.
But then why call it the Ghost Dimension? Why not retitle it if you know you're gonna do this?
Yeah, because they're fucking demons.
Gambit.
There's no
for starters. Yeah, there's no ghosts.
Exactly. The demon dimension.
You could just call it Demon Goo. I feel like that would have brought some people in.
All right.
Well, there's daylight and a dollar short on that idea for that gimmick too. To wrap that up, I mean, they had movies out in the height of 3D because 3D is starting to fade out again. You're not seeing it. I mean, I know movies are still coming out in 3D. It's not as big of a push or a sell anymore. They could have done that in like 3 or 4 and have it actually be effective.
Yeah, that's
you're right.
Have any of the other ones been in 3D? I do not remember.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. But like, what would have been the point? I guess. So to get it kind of more to the plot here. So eventually they do kind of start thinking, hey, maybe something is wrong here. And they start doing some research, and he's seeing the tapes of the girls, so he's figuring something's going on. And I'm a little fuzzy, but at some point it leads them to start looking into like what was going on in the house, like how did they end up in the house, whatever. And one of them mentions that their real estate agent was named Katie, and it's like this way crazy, like off the cuff remark that's like really gone and like there and gone so fast. And then they're looking through their papers and they're like, what was it? Like they basically discover that they don't know anything about the house, and they call the company and they find out there's no such agent as Katie. But then they just dismiss it. I can only be left to believe that this is Katie Featherstone, demon real estate agent extraordinaire.
No, that's definitely
who has cooked up some elaborate ruse, including being able to print out contracts and stuff to get these people into this house.
And all this,
when you're made of ink, it's really easy to print it out.
Basically, she has a demon laser printer.
All this stuff is like sort of teed up at the beginning because this movie opens with a
they're moving
sort
in,
of a
right?
flashback. No, it opens with them with the sisters. Basically, or maybe it's like the first video they watch. I don't fucking remember. I think it's a flashback in the beginning. It
starts off weird.
Where it's the creepy like people who kidnap the girls telling them like you're gonna be the one who like gives birth to Toby's like fucking vessel, and then you're gonna be the one who kills the other one and like is Toby's like spirit guide. That's Katie. She's the one who's kind of like ushering in all the stuff throughout the rest of the movies. So she's the common thread, right? Which is why it's weird. I think Casey mentioned it's like super weird that she's not in this movie at all because she really is the common piece that is like teeing up all of the other families and the carnage. And
I guess I did kind of expect her to show up. considering
Didn't
that
she show
they're
up in marked ones?
I think she did, or was it like
is
this
wait
movie
is there
she
a
was
moment when
referred
isn't
to
there a
in-
moment though, and maybe some of this like this like time rift stuff is set up, because I feel like there's a moment in the marked ones where they're in a basement and they're being scared and they go through a door or something and they're like they're in the house in the original Paranormal Activity.
Yeah,
and then it turns out that they being in the house, they were like invisible and they were actually doing ghosty things that were scaring them in the original Paranormal Activity. It's all coming back to me now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You're right, but she showed up in that one, so why isn't she here?
anyway, but all we get is this random aside mention of Katie, and then basically they realize somehow they've been tricked into like moving into this house.
Well, not even
And-
tricked. They just like they got a really good deal, and it's like so this house was built on the same property that the original house was built on,
Okay.
and that original house was burned to the ground, and then they built this house on top of it, and they got a great deal on it, so they moved in, and
But
so
basically,
Toby.
go ahead, Casey.
So Toby.
That was my question on this movie, because that's the one thing I didn't quite follow. Was it the original house from Paranormal Activity 1, or was it the witch's house?
I didn't
from,
really
like,
follow that either.
I think
No, the
it was
witch's the grandmother witch's house was older. Like this is a pretty
Yeah.
new looking house.
Yeah. The thing that you can give it credit for, but to me was also a detriment, was that like I agree with you guys that this ties into the first three much better than the other ones. The other ones do, and in a way that is logical insofar as a Paranormal Activity movie can be logical. But the problem with that is so much of that was like ridiculous exposition. Like it was tied up, but it was tied up by a person who was just reading me how it was tied up.
Yeah.
They also don't do
Specific-
themselves any favor by tying it so much in with the third one, because that was the best one. So then you're just going like, oh, remember how good that one was?
Just those scenes that kind of take place with the brothers watching the tapes and shit. It's like they're reading like just a fucking rap sheet of like all the plot points that I'm supposed to, as a viewer, kind of like. So I think it's admirable that they tied it all together, but I just thought that the way that they did it was just so like ham-fisted.
That is, you're right. Now that you mentioned that, I didn't think about it when we were watching, but it does come across as them saying, "Hey, Mark, you remember when this happened?"
Right, because I don't, and I'm glad that they got.
Well,
back up
I
to
mean,
speed, but they were just telling me about it. I don't know.
Well, I feel like we kind of talked about that. Like, I needed that. Like, I wouldn't have remembered like any of that stuff. Like, I thought it was actually kind of a cool way to kind of flash back to like, oh, remember when this happened?
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just a positive guy, Mark.
So eventually we.
Just so you guys know, I love every movie we watch from here on out. You guys get really upset when I don't like a movie.
Another funny thing that happened is, so they call in a priest, and the priest is skeptical for like 2.5 seconds, and then he goes, well, I know somebody that might be able to do something. This part was totally weird to me, and maybe I'm getting the line
His
wrong.
name is Ernest.
No, I swear to God, he goes, I know somebody that can do something, but it's kind of dangerous. And then it like slam cuts. First of all, the person he knows is apparently him, because he's the one doing it.
Yeah,
And second of all, he just jumps right in, and he's just like, fuck it, demon size,
I think he
gonna happen.
called someone, and that other person like kind of like told him what to do. Like
It
he
was
kinda
really
like,
weird though. It was just
I'm
the weirdest
gonna do it, but
jump
like
cut.
I
have a
But-
friend named Katie.
Basically, what we find out is this. What we find out is this. The grand scheme of all of these movies, every time oh, I should put the graphic in. Every time we reviewed one of these movies and been like, hey, why don't you just tell me what the fuck these movies are about, because I would like to know. Basically, what it comes down to is Toby, demon man extraordinaire, needs to be reborn into a body. And basically this is his final plan to do it, and he's going to do it with the help of their little daughter, whatever magic demon science. But he wants to do this despite the fact that, by all appearances, he seems to be omnipotent as a demon. He can go anywhere he wants. By the way, he can affect the physical world, because we see him like snap people in half literally in the other movies. Why he needs to be in like a corporeal form, Schnars, I do not know.
Well,
Strong
in this
play.
movie, he like straight up fucking like eviscerates people, like punches holes in them.
No.
So yeah, so like that's the end game, but they never really. I feel like they totally dropped the balls to explaining to me why he needs to be.
Yeah, like why not
Doesn't
just
make
go
any
about
sense.
being a demon and fucking
When
shit up?
Chucky wants to get into a human, it makes sense because he's a tiny ass doll,
Well,
and that
and-
you can't do anything. You can't get
Same
anything
with
done
what's
like
her
that.
name, Annabelle or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't that the same plot in Annabelle where they're like she's gonna possess the
Sure, yeah,
daughter or
something like
something?
What about Vigo? What was his deal? Why did he want to get into a
Well,
baby?
because he was in a painting, man.
Steroids.
true, I
Steroids.
guess.
Like, come on, if the option is be in a painting or like take over this little
Mark,
baby's body. like,
So we
great.
don't gloss over, Mark. What was the website that just did like an expose on the actor that played Vigo?
I mean, I want to
Oh,
say
yeah.
I want to say Gawker, but I can't remember.
No,
what
it was one of their. It was Vice or something like that,
Huh.
or something. Anyway,
Yeah, read it. Look up
so-
Vigo, the Carpathian actor, and some other stuff, and it'll show.
So
You'll find it.
basically, it leads to the finale, which happens like kind of abruptly, where they're in the living room, and the priest's plan is to use the little girl to lure the demon. Which, by the way, nobody even for 1 second questions. And
Well,
Cool.
It
Yeah,
goes-
use our
it-
daughter as bait.
it
Let's do
goes
that.
wrong immediately. And spoiler alert: Toby is born into this earth, Schnars.
well,
And
hold on.
well,
and
or
you-
like Toby's like bottom 3/4 of his leg, because that's all we really see. It's kind of like
Right.
pumpkin headish.
you really kind of hustle to like this.
The
when you
movie
say-
hustles to it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't underplay how quickly they fucking just ended this movie. It was like, terrorizing of the family, well, crazy stuff, and then it was like, no, it's over. I literally was surprised. I was like, wait, is this the end? And then
Yeah.
it just was over.
Well,
And
it was
there-
almost like he was like, "Oh shit, they figured it out. I have to kill all of them before they tell anybody." It's like it's basically how it played out in the movie.
You know, I'm really disappointed though. This is like where I think this movie effed up a little, aside from just all the other ways it effed up. They keep showing you pictures
on.
of what Toby's face looks like throughout this movie, and it's this sick, like Baphomet-looking goat head with like 12 eyes.
Yes.
And it's incredible. And you're like, all right, well, this movie's definitely going to end with like a Bagul style shot. It's the one moment where the one movie I would have been totally fine with the like totally bullshit Bagul shot at the end. I just wanted to see Toby's fucking face, and we get nothing. We get his
Well, and-
kneecap.
Am I misremembering this? In the first movie, when they like lay out the baby powder, isn't it like hoof prints? It's like
Yeah.
not like normal
Chicken feet.
footprints.
And these were more like, oh no, they were kind of like, chicken feet. Casey's right.
Oh, that's
They
right.
were like
But
three-toed little.
so like not
Yeah.
only did they not show you
Their
the
foot
face
logic
that
was
they-
consistent.
Yeah, their foot logic. Yeah, there was some foot continuity errors that I was very upset about. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, like the build up to this whole movie is like you're gonna see some awesome shit, and the payoff was just fucking
Like
garbage.
I just like listen. This is where I'm with Mark. Like I just sat through this bullshit movie. I've watched every one of your bullshit movies, bro. Just show me Toby. Like it's a stupid token thing.
It would not be as big of an issue if they didn't telegraph a big reveal and then the
Yeah.
big reveal was
Yeah.
fucking ankles. Like, hey, here's some ankles.
I would love to know if that's sitting on a cutting room floor somewhere, and for whatever reason they just decided it didn't work. I guess that wouldn't
mean,
surprise me.
That seems
Or
possible.
do something crazy, like even if they're not going to show us monster Toby, when they cut at the end, we see Toby's feet. That's all you see. He's obviously not wearing pants, but if they would have cut back and showed us it and had it completely wrap up and have him show Toby is in like Micah's body from the first movie, and then you'd be go, oh shit, at least that. But no, we don't even get that. We
Like-
get his feet.
Like this is the end where you just see full on demon peen.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
even that
instead
would
we
have been
just-
more than what we got.
Yeah, we just got.
Yeah, I
some
would have
real
settled
meta-
for some demon tree drunk.
We got some real menacing green
Just
screen
dicks.
or night vision ankles.
It is weird because like it doesn't seem that they're going to make another one of these, or if they do, it's definitely going straight to video. And they're still making these so cheap. It probably still makes financial sense to just start cranking them out direct to video, I would think.
I didn't look at how this thing. I know it did super
12,
poorly.
13 million or something opening weekend.
Really? No.
Really?
Or total, one or the other. That's what
Yeah,
the
maybe
number, that's
total.
the number I saw today.
I'm curious what they made it for. I just like did none of this research, obviously.
That
before
might be
this.
like over 2 weeks or whatever. That's just the number I saw.
Okay.
I don't
Interesting.
pretend to know numbers, John. I'm not the numbers guy here. You are.
No, I hear you. I
How do
know.
they work?
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to kind of mention about this movie? I just like I really like just to make sure we really hit a point on Katie,
Well, and
Demon Katie, real estate agent.
there's a bunch of good ass BGHs that kind of dig into some of the finer points of the movie, so
Okay.
we can potentially cover things there as well.
Hot.
My only thing I would bring up is because I thought originally they were going to start the marked ones to start off a whole new spin-off of these things is what I was led to believe anyways. But now like this movie, they act like it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I think you're right.
no, I
Like,
don't know
they
what the
were
deal
trying
with
to,
that was.
I think they were trying to play around with I don't want to say business model because that makes it probably sound
universe.
crasser than it really was, but they
John,
were just like, let's see if we can
John,
squeeze
John.
a little.
It's completely crass. It was 100% crass.
I know, but I actually don't think that was a bad movie. That's my point. Is like,
No, it wasn't. But
yeah.
that doesn't mean they didn't make it because they looked and said, "Hey, look at all these Latino people that love horror. What if we did this?"
My guess. All right, so what? Now I'm
Which,
just like,
to be
completely-
fair, an underserved market, obviously.
But what I'm clearly just speculating.
But they weren't doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. Is my point.
My guess is they actually probably had some other script sitting around that was like sort of about like whatever, like because didn't that movie have like not voodoo but like Santeria type shit in it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my guess is they had a script sitting around that kind of had that already. They had already optioned it, and they were just like, well, we could make this and turn it into like a Paranormal Activity spinoff and see how it goes. Like that's like how a lot of that shit comes to happen. You know, not that we're ever going to get a straight answer about it, but that would be my guess. In any event, yes, Casey, you're right. Like, I thought there was going to be more of them too. The reality is they probably just were like, meh, who gives a fuck? We can make like Conjuring 2, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the margins though have to be great. If they make $5 million, they must be making money. Like, how much do they? I mean, now they are pumping a ton of, like, the first film really got the benefit of grassroots, like, horror fans pushing it. So, who knows? Paranormal Activity, whatever. It's my review. Like, I enjoyed it, but I could have just as easily come into it on the wrong day and came out exactly feeling the exact same way Mark did. It's just
Yeah.
But I just love
know, Eric.
Listen,
We've
I
seen
love
it there.
found footage tripe, and so on that level, I kind of enjoyed it.
Do you guys think that I've been like possessed by Eric? Maybe
We've
I'm just, like,
swat. It's like that movie with George Burns.
Freaky Friday.
Yes, that's the one. Nailed it. All right,
God,
Mark.
you devil.
Mark,
Yeah.
tell me what Movie Guide is and what they do, and then
Oh
read.
my god. Well, Movie Guide, first of all, is a site that I think might have malware or something on it because I've been getting Movie Guide notifications on my desktop, so I got to figure out what's going on there.
That is amazing.
But also, if you're not interested in being infected with Movie Guide malware, you can just listen to this podcast where we read to you what you should worry about in these movies if you are a God-fearing person. So, Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, features a very strong occult demonic worldview with witchcraft and demonic symbols where Christian efforts to stop the demonic forces and their witchcraft supporters, including invocations of the name of Jesus, rather, are ultimately and totally ineffectual. At least 45 obscenities, mostly F words, 2 strong profanities mentioning Jesus, and 11 light profanities. Plus, woman vomits something acidic out of her mouth. Very strong, scary violence includes man impaled through chest, neck snap, demon attacks people and scares them by rushing at them somehow, but he's not a physical form. Man's face apparently burned with acid. Scary images of something invisible or supernatural taking up residence in various forms of the house. Hypnotized little girl tries to burn Bible and rosary and fireplace before mother stops her. A demonic tunnel opens up in the wall of a house where a little girl has been put into a trance to draw demonic occult symbols. Little girl suddenly bites priest, which, by the way, was my favorite moment in the entire movie, trying to minister to her. Little girl scratches at wall where demonic portal is, and her hands get bloody. Priest dragged off, etc. Wife solicits husband to come to bed, heyo, but nothing with her, but nothing shown. No nudity, brief alcohol use. Yeah, no smoking, no boobs. But a verbal reference to hallucinogenic mushrooms, and priest is called, but he's ultimately ineffectual. Secret
Wait,
cabal.
verbal reference? They fucking straight up showed the dude hallucinating on mushrooms. Yeah, sorry, Mark.
Known for their accuracy. And priest is called to, but he's all secret cabal of witches want to conjure a demon physically. Kidnapping of children is successful. Occult and demonic deceit against a Christian family is successful.
Oh.
John, in all fairness, it's hard to write all this stuff down when you're masturbating with the other hand.
Oh,
Just saying.
all right.
I had something else to say, but I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. Would you recommend this? Probably too late to see it in theaters, but I guess you could still catch it on demand. Mark.
Too late for theaters because that movie came out 2 years ago.
Oh, whatever. This one. Mark.
Nope.
Joe.
I'd watch it on DVD when it comes out.
Casey.
I'd go watch the marked ones, but I wouldn't bother with this one.
John?
I'd say if you've seen all the other ones, you
Yeah.
owe it to yourself.
Yeah, like whatever, man. Just take the journey home. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
It's an
Netflix,
hour and 20 minutes.
like Netflix
Yeah.
for sure. You're like I wouldn't go out of your way to see it.
I just wish any of these movies had that "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" song, like at some point. Like I feel like that would have helped this
Isn't
movie.
that guy
Like
dead?
he just has like a boombox. He just
Yeah.
Dude, that guy died literally a mile from my house. No
Did he
shit.
really? Drowning Pool,
Yeah.
right? Was
Drowning
the name
Pool,
of that band?
Yeah.
Sad.
That's
All right.
my claim to fame.
Let's take a quick break here and do some fan mail.
Don't move. Don't breathe. And whatever you do, don't make a sound. Because they're back.
Get off the ground, Brady! Get off the ground!
Preparing to fire.
What are they? We don't know. The worms changed somehow. Now we've got these things.
Tremors 2. Aftershocks. Evolution. It's a bitch.
Hi, this is Dana Roebuck from Everything You've Ever Seen on Television, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back.
Nothing wrong with me.
Back in the house. First up,
something's gotta give.
Joe and John character. I've been saving this email up for like 3 weeks now at least. And Mark, for the record, said there's no way I would ever remember to read this on the show. And I did. Thank you very much. All thanks to Gmail labels, John. So big ups to
hello.
Gmail. This is from Mexican Tony, aka Lowly Ant, aka another name. So he's got a bunch of names. He says, as requested by the Joe character, I write you in again. First thing, I think the little characters and the snares character should let Dad talk more. Joe character, please don't intercourse with the lady gremlins. It's for your own good. Do you know what happened when you get them wet? Story now. I would.
Is this story now?
Well, he's moved. He's like now he's ready for a story. He's already moved on to the next thought.
transitioning.
Story now. I was on my way to the Lord's work at the homeless shelter. Sorry to the snares character when I ended up in an altercation with this ET-looking dude who wheeled over my foot. I was about to beat her like I was my stepdad when one of the strippers with big old gadonkers got the manager. After we were both told to leave, we started talking for a few minutes. ET told me a spooky story about going to camp and why there are numbers on her arm.
Oh, boy.
To answer y'all's questions, yes, I did hit that booyah. Anyway, I guess what I learned is that
Took a not so funny turn.
I guess what I learned is that you shouldn't go around fighting with everyone who rolls over your foot because they might not be a jerk. They might just be mostly blind.
Of all the emails that Eric chooses not to read,
Yeah.
I really just like when he says the snares character because that's my favorite.
sure.
Like he apologizes to him because he's going to a homeless shelter. That's funny. That's just good comedy work right there, Mark. I got to give it up for that.
Strong.
Maybe a little too much in the end there, but hey,
Things got
we
weird.
all get overzealous sometimes, Mark.
No. I salute it.
Yep. He also posted about my list that ended up on bloodygoodhorror.com, Mark. His response was, Grumpy Beard manages to post something kind of grinchy.
Yeah.
Rob Lawford UK says, I'm listening to the Goosebumps episode and was drinking tea when Eric BGH just said drill dough.
No.
I don't remember saying that, but so that's why I thought that was interesting.
I heard it. I was on a bike. It was deadly.
Next up, Hayden. Have any of you guys and gals seen the anthology flick Tales of Halloween? I have a feeling it would give Eric a new appreciation for Trick or Treat.
Huh.
I have not.
No.
I have not seen it yet.
Never heard of it.
It's on deck.
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
It's
got some. It's got a lot of. It's got a good cast. It's got like Barbara Crampton and Adrian Barbeau and a whole bunch of other.
like from back in the day?
Yeah.
It's an older movie?
No, it's
Barbeau.
brand new. It's them now.
Oh,
so.
it's convention casting couch kind of a thing?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Great. Next up,
So
Christian.
dismissive, Eric. It's so brutal.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Oh, man.
That's like an immediate way for me to like delete your email when you send me about your
Guys,
movie.
Eric has re-inhabited his own body. He's no
Yeah, I'm
longer-
back, guys. I'm back. Don't worry. Listen, I went through my Gmail today and blocked probably 65 different people and or organizations that are sending me just daily nonsense. It felt so
like-
good.
Yeah, gobbledygook.
So good. First up, Christian. The reason Paranormal Activity wasn't available to all because the distributor is putting out a VOD early on November 10th. I don't know if we have the date.
Wow, that's that's actually really quick.
Only 17 days after its theatrical release. Because of this, most major theater chains boycotted the film. Blah, blah, blah. We talked about that. Thank you for that.
That's where I heard that.
Next up, Brian Lasseter. Every time Eric said goosebumps in his Irma Gerd voice, it sounded like he was saying ghost sperm, which I can only assume was coming from some ghost balls that had been kicked. Number 2, speaking of sperm, have you heard about this? White woman gives birth to black baby, claims the ghost of Michael Jackson impregnated her.
Oh.
And then he links to, oh, well, I can just post this in the chat. I don't.
Read the article. Read the whole article on air.
No, that's okay. Number 3, much like crying, there are no vampires in baseball. That's a Twilight reference because we were talking about that last week.
Yeah.
Which the 3 of you guys wouldn't know because you weren't here.
But I did listen to the episode, so I did know that. So, boom. I said this earlier, I think, but do you know how many times I like wanted to like tweet at all 3 of you idiots or 4 of you and be like correct something that you said that made me upset? It was a lot of times.
I mean, I'm always right about everything, so I don't know what that could have been.
And it's surprising.
Nothing wrong with me.
info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. We are also on Twitter @BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. That is a way to contact us. Mark, what are people saying to us?
Oh,
over
man.
at
Here we
go.
John failed me.
I'm going to keep talking slow
said
until
ready
Schnars gets his shit together.
Ready when you are, and here we
I
are.
put it in the chat. He blew his cue. John blew his cue.
All right. You're
hold on a
good.
second.
Go to
You're
town. I'm leading with the movie-related tweets, and then we'll get to the.
See, look at you. You got
Fuck
this.
it, we'll do it live.
We'll just work on timing next week. You know, we'll get this.
All right. They're in the chat. I don't know what you guys are waiting
All right, this
for.
first one is from NMS. You rich? Would you join a Satan cult to time travel? I probably would.
Yeah, probably. I mean, what's involved? Like,
Well,
do
but
I-
you have to time travel to other places where Satan-y stuff is happening. That's no good.
You don't know. I mean, I'm sure
Is it-
there's like warm places. in
Is
the
it
winter.
easier to get your real estate license if you are a demon?
That's true.
I think time traveling would be fun, but the ultimate irony of time traveling is that no one there would believe you're a time traveler. If you went back in time, anyway, I guess. You go to the future.
Fair point.
Sure.
Have you guys seen Interstellar? Great little film.
I wouldn't call it little, but
Little indie picture.
Yeah, I have seen it. And I
Seen
enjoyed
Inner
it.
Space. Martin Short.
It's pretty good.
The part where the person gets lost in the plaid shirt is my favorite.
What's wrong with me?
Next one is from Mount Salea. Do we actually see the extra dimensional space Toby comes from? Is the movie actually scary or is it boring?
So no, I mean you see the smoky, goopy stuff that he like manifests as, and you see the like hallway that leads from one house to the 1980s, but you never see you never go to the ghost
His
dimension.
domain. See, I think his domain is that hallway. Like he just
in
lives
the
in the hallway normally.
Oh, jeez.
You never
That'd be boring.
go further.
Must be a Manhattan apartment, huh, John?
Nailed it, Joe.
Joe,
Nailed
that
it.
laugh face was terrifying.
Yeah. Well, it's because you made the face before.
Please
the
stop
sound
making that
actually came
face.
out.
Holy shit. No, I don't like that. When you make that face, I just hear Tiptoe Through the Tulips in my head.
All right. Next one is from Ink Static. So regarding time travel, is this movie more Terminator rules or Back to the Future rules?
Oh.
It's like happening simultaneously. It's more like Further rules. It's like Sinister rules.
Yeah.
It's like multiverse. Like everything's happening at the same time.
if I'm
It's
not
a little
mistaken,
bit of Doctor Who.
Little Doctor Who.
Well,
It's like all the timing dimensions are interacting with each other at the same time.
yeah, exactly.
And you can go from one to the other and they're all happy.
It's
like
it's time is a flat circle.
you are in no way changing things, in other words, when you go back.
No, because the present assumes that you already went back.
It's deep.
Yeah.
A little bit of blood just came out of my nose. Can't handle that.
It hurts.
It's hump day snores. I just don't have it in me.
I hear you.
All right. Next one's from Claire Quilty. Blumhouse putting their name behind anything. You know they knew better. Any horror production companies not trolling.
Well, here's my question. Have we seen any movie this year that was not in the theater that was not a Blumhouse movie? Because at some point recently, I've started to feel like the last 5 have been Blumhouse because we did we did the Duplass thing too.
So Krampus definitely isn't. Victor Frankenstein, which is not really a horror movie, is definitely not.
We must have seen at least 5
Crimson Peak wasn't, was it?
of these.
No, yeah. Good
No,
point.
we have had this conversation though. I mean, I remember. I don't even remember what movie it was. I know Sophie was on because she was talking about it, and we'd already seen like 4 or 5 at that point in time. So yeah, it's a little ridiculous. They're even doing TV now, so they're doing that.
I mean, they don't make awful movies, I guess. So, like, what are you gonna do?
No, I agree.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Falbo Benjamin.
My favorite.
What would you have done with the 2 hours you wasted on this movie?
No. It was only like an hour and 20.
I'm okay with my life decisions there, Falbo, Mr. Falbo.
I would have watched the Notre Dame football game because I watched this on Halloween night. So
Yeah.
only a little better.
There you go. All right. Next one is from OTW Customs. Loving the T, but can I ask BGH if I can get one with a deeper V-neck? Looking for the schnars look.
Ooh, that looks good in red, man.
Oh.
Yeah,
Red.
so he got that. That's a custom
Nice
joint because
work,
that is
buddy.
not one of the.
Man, that looks killer in red. Holy shit, look at that.
Oh, wow.
It's so
Everybody simmer
red.
down.
It really
Jesus.
does. This
So
guy,
red.
I'm just gonna say, this guy is a schnars-like figure too.
Yeah, are we looking at the shirt or the guy here? What are we?
Everybody looks good in red.
Blurred
Let's
lines,
be
Mark.
honest.
Am I right?
No, you don't.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody knows.
Okay.
Off the rails. Continue.
Next one is from Dustin Chisholm.
By the way, hold on, Mark. Sorry. By the way, I would just like to encourage anybody the Bloody Good Horror shirt. Not joking. We want pictures of you in your shirt, so send them.
Yeah, tag us on Instagram or Bloody Good
Please-
Horror on
please send
Instagram.
them. It
and
makes
for
us
BG
feel-
Horror on Twitter. So
Or
Makes us
not,
feel
for
warm
sure.
in our loins.
all right, next one's from DC
Yo,
979.
I got that.
Thanks, buddy.
I think you guys, or this was Ask BJH at Titty Bats. I think you guys were onto something last episode, a little more detail, and we might have something. And it's a gremlin with a titty bat tattoo.
Yeah, this
Oh,
was
yes!
too.
Wow, that was an idea straight from my brain that is now a reality.
It's pretty good.
That's
Pretty good.
Strong.
I'm a big fan of drawings where I can actually tell what they are. 'Cause
Did he
sometimes you
address the
get-
controversy of the fake titty bats?
Oh no, he's real. Super
Titty
real.
Bats won on Twitter though. That was
No,
different.
he changed
He
it. to
changed
Titty
it,
Bats.
yeah.
So we are directly influencing his choice of social media.
I don't know if I can handle this kind of responsibility, Mark.
Yeah, no, we are running the Titty Bats Twitter now. He actually gave me the password,
Right.
and I am posting everything.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. So follow Titty Bats on Twitter. Next one is from Lovely Dead Adam. You can't wait, can you? Hashtag Spooktacular, and it's the poster for
Oh.
Contracted Phase 2.
Oh. You know what is
Protection is out of the question. That's the log line.
You know what is streaming?
That's
on
not bad,
Netflix
actually.
now
You know
is,
what? I'm kind of okay with that as pros.
The Human Centipede 3 is now streaming on Netflix.
Whoa,
So
really?
just tossing that out there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to watch that, actually.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We might have to do
Fuck.
that before the end of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah, for
Gotta
Christmas.
do that.
I hate you guys.
Yeah, Christmas.
Here we go. Here we go.
The second one was literally like, there aren't many movies I watched that I'm like, I kind of wish this didn't exist. I felt that way about the second one.
Yeah.
I'm not
was
saying it
just-
shouldn't. I'm just saying I wish it didn't.
It's
feel
just
like
so
this-
crazy. Like, I salute them for how fucking crazy it is.
I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this one. I feel like it's a little more
Wacky.
yeah, like it takes place in a prison. It
The
seems like
second
there's
one just like put a cigarette out on my soul.
Yeah.
I just got done watching the new season of Project Greenlight, and I'm just trying to imagine a bunch of people on a film set making Human Centipede.
Exactly. Yeah.
like a producer. There's a person who produced
for the
that.
hour and a half that you watch those actors stand there, like kneel there, ass to mouth. They probably spent weeks in that position, with a bunch of people around gawking at them, waiting for them to get the take right so they could go home.
Nice.
Do you think they put like flowers in their diapers so it smelled nice for the other people?
Oh, God.
All right.
I bet you there was a lot of real vomiting.
So yeah, Contracted 2. I don't know about
No,
that.
thank you. Next one. BC likes you. Favorite N64 games?
I'm not 12, so I don't have any. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No, that was a divide though. Like when I think like nostalgic consoles, for me it was Super Nintendo and Nintendo. But Mark is 100% the N64.
Come on, you never played GoldenEye?
Yeah, I played GoldenEye, but
Perfect
I
Dark.
don't like.
Come on, dude.
But I don't love
Mario Kart?
I don't love that Mario Kart as much as I do the Super Nintendo.
I salute Diddy Kong Racing. I don't know if you guys played any of that, but that was a sweet game.
I played what was it, Star Fox?
Yeah, Star Fox 64
hours.
was amazing.
Obligatory.
Mario Kart was our jam.
Wait, what were you say? What?
I was saying Mario Kart was our jam. You get a bunch of friends together, and that's what you do is scream at each other and cheat in races.
For sure. Obligatory WWF No Mercy. Also,
I never played a WWF game on
WCW NWO World Tour.
That was the heyday of wrestling games, I feel like.
I mean, Ocarina of Time is like a top 5 all-time video game.
Those games are just so rough to go back to because it was so early in 3D that developers just had no fucking idea what they were doing. So across the board, control schemes are broken. Nothing looks right. Like it's just it's kind of fascinating. Like it'll be, I think, interesting to look back, like in an academic standpoint, in like 50 years, like the history of video games. People are going to be like, "What the fuck is that?" You know,
I mean, I'm
like
sure people have
blocky
already
heads
done
and
it a
like
little bit.
just like pictures painted across polygons.
Well, like if you don't think about like hardware restrictions, it's like that's what they thought people looked like.
right. Like some ancient society's gonna dig this up and be like,
Like,
man, people looked really fucked up back then.
You look at black and white movies and think that people existed in black and white. People are gonna look at N64 games and think that people were just like made out of
That
plastic.
guy doesn't even have hands. He just has like a blocky fist.
Every time he bends backwards, he splits in half. What happened? All right.
Good question.
Next one, yeah, definitely. Next one.
I'm always for video game questions.
From Claire Quilty. No fan mail on Something Red, so any recommendations for someone getting back into horror lit after a 10 to 15 year hiatus?
So I think you can email somethingred@gmail.com or maybe
somethingredpodcast@gmail.com.
Maybe they're just waiting for you to email.
Something Red BGH on Twitter.
I would tell you for new authors though, check out Joe Hill. All of his books are good, and Anya Allborn's got some good books too.
And you.
Yeah.
I gotta say too, I listened to Something Red yesterday, and it was really good. If I were into reading books, I think I would listen to that. Just gonna say it. No, I was actually very pleased, especially for a second time putting the show together. It was good. People should join us on Patreon so that they can hear it every month.
Well, it's in the main feed. They're going to get one more free bite at that apple in the main feed next month, and then Patreon, shout out, whatnot.
Patron.
All right, I'm gonna ask and answer this next question. This is from Chase TX. Top 5 reasons Mark, BGH, and Schnars didn't have a Toptober list.
Oof.
They're too good for you.
I was finishing the app and also editing all of the
that's
Toptober
fine.
lists.
Mark gets a pass.
Hold on.
John's hands were
Mark
so puckered
gets a
from
pass.
paper cuts for mailing out all of the T-shirts and stickers and coasters that he could.
John could have written
God.
like top 10 reasons why I fucking hate stuffing envelopes with T-shirts to send to you heathens.
I was going to say,
Top
let's be
5
clear.
least favorite addresses that are super long that I don't want to.
It is funny because I now I know where all of the patrons live, and not
John, where's the weirdest place we've sent to?
Well, that's what I was trying to think, like the best town name. Damn it, I should have looked this up.
What's the farthest flung that you sent to? How's that?
Bank Bonaroto.
Well, so I couldn't send any of the international ones because I've been using stamps.com, and stamps.com doesn't let you buy international postage. So that's a shout out for all the international folks. Just
Are they
like
gonna get their shirts?
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what is the shout out is they're not getting anything.
Shout out, fuck you.
They're gonna get them. I'm gonna have to fucking go to like a post office. I don't know.
Is Illinois another country to you? Because I haven't gotten mine, John. I'm just
Joe, yours? I'm actually,
listen,
we'll
Joe.
take that up offline.
Joe,
because
to us
I'm a little
East Coasters,
concerned.
it might as well be.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
got mine, and I'm either super yoked or I got fatter because it doesn't fit. So I gotta.
Mine's too big.
Figure that out.
I have more complaints, John. Do we have like a complaint email I could send these to?
Yeah.
You know, I will say in terms of the actual list, I had my list outlined, and every day I looked at it, and then I like worked on shit on the website or on the app, and then just didn't end up writing it. So
When can we do zip up hoodies? That's what I really want.
you can do that now, can't you?
No, I think they're just
Actually,
pullovers.
We did sell at least one hoodie. I'd have to look, but I got an email.
I only saw pullovers.
Well,
I can't do that, man. I gotta keep my
The
hair.
technology doesn't exist to zip on
Yeah.
hoodies and also print.
I want a zip up hoodie too.
yeah, John.
Yeah, what the
High
fuck?
five, Eric.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the award to someone. I'm not gonna say the person's name because that would be weird. But lives in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Nice.
What about boy shorts, John?
Listen,
We
John,
got those?
they've got a bustling pigeon forging business down there. So
It's true.
Where do you think all of the world's pigeons?
that's where
come
you
from?
hold the pigeon over the fire and then just hit it with a hammer.
We also had a Chickamauga. I think that's like I don't know.
Chickamauga. That's made up.
Chickamauga, Georgia.
Nice. Anybody like Alaska, or is that considered international
Yeah,
shipping?
weird.
No, that's not considered international. That is
I don't know. I mean, you're crossing international borders to get there.
It's practically to Russia.
US. No, we had no Alaska. Not that I've shipped anyway. So
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
there's your top 5 reasons. I think that was at least 5 apiece, right?
I need to get it small.
All
Just in
right.
case people are wondering, like, if you want to order, where
Oh,
can
hey,
they
do you
order
want
them?
my-
Because
What
what?
am I small? Because it doesn't fit my rippling muscular.
Yeah. Do you want to
Yeah,
trade?
just
Seriously, I have a
trade
medium.
shirts.
Do you want to trade?
Yeah, for sure.
Hot.
Perfect.
So,
So
like, sometimes I get worried though with these types of certain brands of shirts because, like, I like the athletic fit, but sometimes that means like baby shirt where your nipples are visible. But no, they're like an athletic fit, but they're not overly
hold on,
crazy.
he's talking about nipples. Let's see where this is going.
Tell me more about your nipples in every size of shirt.
Go on.
All right, last one.
Listen,
me
people
more.
worry about this thing. They're trying to order a shirt. I have personally
Dude, I
tried
can't
one
tell
on. I'm
you.
trying to give them guidance,
When
assholes.
we were going through this art and setting these shirts up, I was singularly worried about how your nipples would react to these shirts.
Good, you should be.
It's top of mind. John and I had very long conversations about it.
All you had to do is ask, buddy. I'll tell you anytime how they feel.
ePublic doesn't make shirts with internal nipple tape yet. But next one.
The struggle is
Last
real.
one.
That's all I'm saying.
The struggle is real. Yeah, I feel for you, man. Last one's from Mikey Jesus. Casey, Scouts versus Zombies. I was at the pre-screening and remember you talking about being excited for it. Anyone see it?
No.
No, but we're talking about. I think we got to find a way to see it, right?
Yeah.
We do need to. It's on the list, but not. Well, it'll be on demand, right? Isn't that the whole problem?
Oh, OD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because it didn't get a
OD.
wide release either, unfortunately, so it wasn't anywhere around me.
Well, no,
I am
'cause they're-
excited to see it though.
It's literally it was the exact same company that was releasing Paranormal Activity. They were like a 2-pack. So I think it's Paramount. I'm pretty sure.
A 2-pack Shakur.
Tupacalypse.
It's it's like that.
Machiavelli.
That's all she wrote, Eric.
No doubt. That's the whole kit and caboodle.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Say triumphant return
Felt good.
of Schnaps, Joe, and Casey. Welcome back, guys. Good to have you.
Felt good to be inside, everyone.
Are you like gone again next week, John? Are you like doing this to me again?
Yeah, I'm out next week. Sorry. No, I do have to.
You're never here anymore. I never see you.
I know.
Where you going, big guy?
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I gotta go back to California, man. You know.
I'm so horny, John.
All right.
info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address.
I can't wait till Eric's
We're on-
wife moves back in
we're
with it. It's just creeping everybody out.
It's so horny.
We're-
I I
Well,
tell this
so-
story all the time, but I want to say it was the first horror hound that I was at. Fozzie Bear, when he was saying about it, everybody hugged me and then whispered in my ear, "I've been so horny lately," and it is one of the funniest things I've ever.
We're also on Twitter at BG Horror with the hashtag AskBGH. Send us pictures of your shirts. You can do that on Instagram too. Get all those social links at bloodygoodhorror.com.
Also,
Picture your
Killer,
shirts crumpled up in a ball on the floor next to you. If you
tell
know
us
what I
how
mean.
the shirts feel on your nipples. Eric
Yeah.
wants to know. Killer-flicks.com.
Yeah,
Also,
the app. Check the app out. Get horror movie recommendations based on your mood.
Oh,
Yeah,
we got an app.
based on how your shirt fits.
We got an app for that.
Killer-flicks.com. With an X.
Nip slips.
Hey, listen, have you ever had chafed nipples? It is not fun.
All right, let's.
John, you ran a
let's wrap
marathon.
it.
You know this.
Yeah, I know about it.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
You can't run a marathon without putting some band-aids on your nipples. That's all I'm saying.
Let them bleed.
Also, check out patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. What are we reviewing next week?
Good night, mommy.
Good night, Mommy Dearest.
Mommy.
My favorite
Dearest.
movie of the year.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
No more
Possible-
wire hangers.
Possible contender for movie of the year. So you're gonna want to
As long as we can remember the name.
You're gonna want to watch out for that. And I guess that's it, guys. That's gonna do it for Bloody Good Horror. Back in the saddle. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
Adios.
See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.